Greek. So facts I found really interesting about Greek. Number one, the Greek alphabet was the first to use vowels. The Greek alphabet has a long history and has been around since the 9th century. It was the first alphabet to use vowels before that. And no, before that, written language considered only of consonants. Number two, Greek hugely influenced English, and as such, many technical and scientific terms derive from Greek, especially prefixes. For example, mathematics, astronomy, and biology are of Greek origin. Additionally, almost every English word that starts with PH, for example, philosophy, photograph, phobia, phenomenon, comes from Greek. And all the words in that photo that I have are Greek words. Number three, like German, the Greek language has 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. Therefore, the word the can take 3 forms. In masculine form, it is o, in feminine form, it is I, and in neuter form, it is to. Number 4, ancient Greek, like modern-day Arabic, was written from right to left. It then went through a period of Bustov and Phaedon, meaning that lines alternated between right to left and left to right script. Nowadays, it's written only from left to right. The Greek language is ranked as the richest in the world with 5 million words and 70 million word types. Greek roots are often used to coin new words for other languages, especially in the medicine and sciences. Number 6. I had photos here, but they are missing. I have no idea why. The first document written in Greek, the first documents written in Greek are more than 3,700 years old. Number 7, the Greek language is spoken by about 13 million people all around the world. The vast majority of Greek-speaking people lives in Greece, obviously, and the biggest group of speakers outside of Greece is the community of about 600,000 people living in Cyprus. And number 8, this word is the longest ancient Greek word. It is fictional dish and was created by Aristophanes in his comedy as Assemblywoman. I don't know how to read it, but it contains 182 characters. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Hungarian. The alphabet. It contains 44 letters, and the longest word is which is 67 letters. Spoken by. The language is spoken by only 30 million people, and most of them in Hungary, and the second place is Romania. Origins. It comes from Asia and has a totally different dialect than neighboring countries because of that. In fact, Hungarian comes from a Finno-Ugric language group, making the closest relatives Finnish and Estonian. Vowels. There are 14 vowels. They are the common A, E, Y, O, and U, and there are the variations of that are A, E, I, O, U, U. The word order is very flexible, and while it is flexible, it's not totally free. The word order is based on the emphasis. America. Hungarians may have been in America before Columbus. In Yamal Country Museum, a stone can be found which is inscribed with an early form of Old Hungarian. Length of word. Hungarian is agglutinative, which means it has various grammatical components such as affixes and stands. Thanks to this, there are words over 100 letters, but over time, most of them lose their meaning because of that. Names. In Hungary, the order of name is back to front. Sources. And thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention.
So, the French language, by me, I guess. So, quick facts about the language. French is the 16th most spoken language in the world. 72.2 million people speak it as their first language. And worldwide, around 279.8 million people are French speakers, but not native. French is spoken in many parts of Europe, North America, Asia, and several countries in Africa, such as Tunisia. The history of the language. The Gauls were conquered by the Romans in 121 BC. The Romans at the time spoke vulgar Latin and required the Gauls to speak it too. Well, the Gauls spoke it, but also put some of their own words in the language, which led them to speaking a mix of Latin with Celtic words. Later on, in the 3rd century, northern France was invaded by German tribes, which also imposed their own language. That is the reason why French is different from other Romance languages, such as Spanish and Italian, since it took words from both Vulgar Latin and the language of the German tribes at the time. The evolution of French. From the 5th to the 8th century, it was the time of Gallo-Romance, which was, as I said before, a combination of Vulgar Latin and Gaulish. From the 9th and 13th century, it was the period of Old French, which is when Northern Gaul dialects became a new language. Actually, fun fact, my name comes from Old French. Estelle was inspired by the old word for star, which was estroile at the time. Then, in the 14th to 15th century, it was the period of Middle French, when the changes in grammar and pronunciation occurred. Then, 16th century was Early Modern French, 17th to 18th century Classical Modern French, and finally, from the 19th century to now, is Contemporary French. So the pronunciation is now fixed, and language is also declared the official language of some regions in Africa which were colonized by Belgium or France. Untranslatable French words and expressions. We have a lot of strangely specific words which mean some different things which cannot be translated in English. For example, yaourté, which literally translates to yogurt. Yaourté, or chanter en yaourt, means singing by producing random sounds when you do not know the lyrics or the language of a song. Some other expressions which cannot be translated are une grasse matinée, which literally translates to a fourth morning. This expression means to stay in bed until 11 a.m. or noon because you're too lazy or tired to get up before that. Some last two verbs are tartiner, which is the action of spreading jam or butter on a slice of toast, and bouffer, which is an informal verb which means to eat, but for animals. For example, le chat bouffe sa pâtée et je mange du riz, which translates to the cat eats its cat food and I eat some rice. In the French language, there are some nasal sounds, such as un, un, and un. Those sounds are rather hard to pronounce, which is why some non-natives have difficulties to pronounce certain words. They also appear very often, which makes the language 10 times harder. And lastly, the French numbers. In the French spoken in France and Canada, the numbers 70 to 90 are strangely formed. For example, 70 is 70, which translates to 60 and 10. 80 is 80, which means 4 times 20. And 90 is 90, 4 times 20 and 10. That's all. Thank you for listening.